Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Monday, November 4th, 2024 Kitty Hawk Town Council meeting to order. It's 5 o'clock p.m. We're in the Smith Meeting Room in the Town Hall. Thank you all for being here. Those of you who are watching at home, thank you very much. If you would, if you're able to stand, please join us in a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very, very much. Before we approve tonight's agenda, Casey, I'm going to call on you for a statement here, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we had a request from email request to town manager from Mr. Eddie Goodrich earlier in the week, requesting to be, or earlier last week, sorry, to be placed on the agenda as an actual agenda item. The intent being to discuss, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I believe to discuss a recent denial by council concerning many warehouses and essentially an amendment to something that was previously presented, but it got denied. Council obviously has the discretion to control its agenda, so what we're doing, what I'm doing now is just pointing out to you that the request has been made. You guys could, by consensus, allow that to be added to the agenda. You guys could, by consensus, ask Mr. Goodrich to speak a public comment, but just wanted to bring to the town's attention that the request had been made. So
what was the request again?
to just, I think, talk generally and then have a discussion about a recent denial by council of a text amendment concerning many warehouses.
I really want to hear what Mr. Goodrich says, and I highly encourage you to speak at public comments, sir. I for one, think it's, when I find about the request, it was too late, and I feel kind of awkward discussing it when we've still got attorneys going back and forth. I don't want to make any kind of decision that affects that or could affect the town. Council, Charlotte?
If we've got attorneys going back and forth, then
And I will
no.
note, currently, just what's occurred is the attorney for, and I won't say for Mr. Goodrich, but associated with the property, associated with that text amendment, that lawyer has requested a formal interpretation of a particular item, particular word, phrase, definition within that text amendment. The town has rendered that formal interpretation. The appeal period is still open. So I just, for transparency, I'm not corresponding. It's not like daily, I am taught, but however, the right to appeal on that formal interpretation does still exist and is not expired yet, so.
So there's no attorneys going back and forth on them.
Well, we have about the interpretation itself, and the appeal period on that interpretation is still open.
Thank you. Jeff?
Like to say, I don't want to get in the middle of a legal issue here, but I would like to hear what Mr. Goodrich has to say.
Certainly, me too. David?
I definitely want to hear them.
All right. I mean, would you like to be put on the agenda or listen to in public comment?
I think we'll listen to public comment tonight, and then maybe at the end of the meeting during my comments, I may have something to suggest to you.
Sure.
Okay. Dylan?
I agree with hearing a public comment.
Okay. All right. All right. Sounds like we've got a consensus here, but Mr. Goodrich, has he already signed up for?
Yes, sir.
Very good. We want to hear what you have to say, Mr. Goodrich. Very much so. With that being said, I need a motion to approve tonight's agenda, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Jeff, second.
Second?
Second by Charlotte. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Councilor. Item number 4, we've got a new Public Works employee who was supposed to be introduced tonight, and he has a conflict and cannot be here, but Willie has promised he'll have him at our December meeting. Right, Willie? That'll give you plenty of time to get your speech together, sir. State Historic Preservation, we've got a presentation by Miss Christy Brantley. Come on up, please, ma'am.
Can you hear me
Yes, ma'am.
fairly well? Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this. It's my understanding that there are some community members interested in a local preservation commission, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about that. I want to go ahead and tell you in the beginning that the state has no authority. This is a local issue. I'm just here for information only. So let me begin. In 1966, the Congress passed the National Historic Preservation Act. I apologize, I'm a little nervous, and I'm never usually nervous, and y'all are so friendly, so I apologize. That act set up the State Historic Preservation Office. It set up the National Register, and it also set up what we call Section 106, or Environmental Review, which you may be familiar with. Whenever there's a federal undertaking or any permit, a lot of times it's with road projects. If there's any potential properties that are potentially in the National Register or could be, our office reviews that to lessen any adverse effects that might happen because of that property, that federal undertaking. And that's Section 106. So as part of our job, we do surveys. This is a map that we have available, and it's available to the public. And these are all the known historic resources in North Carolina. So if you're a map geek like me, I'm going to send this link to Lauren. Get with Lauren. It's really cool. The blue dots are National Register properties, and they actually link to the nomination, so you can read more about the property if you're interested. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this is Kitty Hawk. This is that same map where it's zoomed in. And in 2002, we did an architectural survey. I don't know if any of you remember that. And that's what the orange dots are. They're properties that we recorded that had some historic value in 2002. And I need to note that when we talk about historic properties, the rule of thumb is 50 years or older is historic. So when I hit that 50th birthday, I was kind of humbled that I'm now considered historic. So 74 wasn't that long ago. But anyway, if you see the orange dots, we have a file on all of those, and those are properties we found in 2002 to have some historic integrity. The green squares are study listed properties, and that's the first step to be listed in the National Register. So they've gone through that first step, even though it was quite a while ago. I think one of those was the Kitty Hawk School, one of them was the Decatur Beecham House, and then the other one was a church. Okay. So that's my role in a quick nutshell. The state has authorized through legislation, local governments can set up historic preservation commissions. And I think you may have gotten a sheet with all the state legislation references on it, the ones that were most prominent for historic preservation. So over 100 local governments have established historic preservation commissions, and this is a map of all of them. And just to let you know, the blue are regular local historic preservation commissions. The green are what are called certified local governments, which is the second half of my title. And that's a whole nother presentation, a whole nother time. But in order to be a certified local government, you would have to have a historic preservation commission in the first place. So. And this is another layer of that HPO web map I showed you guys just a few minutes ago. And the purple are local designations. So some local governments do districts and landmarks. Some, like your neighbor to the north and your neighbor to the south, they have just landmarked properties. But you see around Charlotte and Raleigh, they do districts, so it's a little bit bigger area. So why would you have local commissions? 160D 940 spells that out. And our state legislators felt that the heritage of our state was one of the most important valued assets. And by protecting those properties, it stabilizes and increases property values and strengthens the overall economy of the state. So they authorized local governments within the planning department to designate these properties or districts. And they also spell out in legislation what you're to designate. The property or district or object or area or site would have to be of special local significance based on history, prehistory, architecture, and or culture. And it must possess integrity, and I'm not going to read this, y'all can read, but of one of those items right there. I think, Lauren, did I send this to you? So you guys have, this is just a flow chart we have in our office, and it kind of spells out how to locally designate landmarks if you are interested. And again, I'm here tonight as a resource. If this is something that you feel that you want to move forward with, I'm here as a resource. We have no authority over this. We work with local commissions across the state. I enjoy that work. I enjoy working with people. There's several resources that are available. These all have links, and I'll try to send that to Lauren, and she can get that to you if you're interested in any of these. So, did I make 4 minutes? Yeah. I tried.
You did a great job.
Did a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, any questions for Ms. Brantley while she's here? Any questions? I know you were nervous. You said you were, but you did a great job.
Well, thank you.
Great job. Great job.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know a lot of people have done a lot of work already, so thank you very much for this. Okay, our fiscal year 2023-2024 audit report. Come on up, sir.
Hey guys, how you doing? I assume you guys probably have a set of financial statements in front of you, as well as probably a couple of letters. My name is Jonathan Dale. I am from the accounting firm Johnson, Roselle, Straub, and Salva. We performed your audit for the fiscal year end June 30, 2024. And I'll just review a couple of things with you guys real fast. I'm not going to go through a whole bunch of numbers because that's going to make everybody fall asleep, but I will highlight a few things. So on the first page, we have what we call the audit report, and that just kind of tells you what we did. And what we did was we performed an audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, and we also performed an audit in accordance with governmental auditing standards, which is also referred to as the Yellow Book. And so, and our opinion on those financial statements is this first 2 paragraphs here. And our opinion is basically unmodified, which means that we believe that your financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted government accounting principles. So that's pretty much what these first 3 letters are stating. And after that, beginning on page 4, you have your management discussion analysis. This is a really good read. It kind of gives you just a summary of some of the items that you see within the set of financial statements. And I'll kind of talk to you about the layout of the financial statements so that as you're going through them, you can kind of use them as a tool to figure out, what is what. So your first two sets of statements on Exhibit 1 and 2 are pretty much your balance sheet, your profit and loss. Those are government-wide statements, meaning that they are on a full accrual basis of accounting, and they're going to have all your fixed assets as well as your long-term liabilities. So you're going to have your pensions in there. You're also going to have, your note and anything else like that that you have. That's going to be anything more than about 90 days out. So, and the difference that you will see, so your first one on Exhibit 1 is pretty much like your balance sheet. The one on Exhibit 2 is pretty much like your profit and loss. The difference between these statements and the ones that you'll see on Exhibit 3 and 4 are going to be that those are going to be on the modified accrual basis accounting. So we are not picking up all your fixed assets or your long-term liabilities. So you're going to see a difference between your income on one set of statements versus the other. And there's a reconciliation to those on the second page of Exhibit 4. So you'll see a reconciliation of your income from your fund statements, which are the modified accrual, to your full accrual basis statements. And so that's pretty much how these financial statements read. Then you also have fiduciary funds. You'll have one set there, which is referring to your Fireman's Relief Fund. That's on Exhibit 6. Your notes and financial statements give all the details for items within your financials. They begin on page 19. So if you're looking through your financials and you're not entirely sure what something is, they're going to be in order from assets to liabilities to equity, then income to expenses. So you will see how they're all laid out within the notes and financial statements. So it might kind of help you as you go through these. Probably, let's see, it's about 30 pages of notes to the financials. And after the notes, the financials, we have several schedules. A lot of these refer to your pension and Leo and your OPEB. So that's pretty much a summary of these next few statements. And then some of the schedules in the back are ones that we actually feel are some of the most useful. So beginning on page 51, you will have your general fund, pretty much like an income statement for your general fund. And you're going to have the budget versus the actual figures, as well as a comparison to what happened in the prior year. So these are actually pretty good as you go through and you're looking at some of the items. So I would highly recommend looking through some of those. And then on page 61, what we have is we have our reports that we prepared discussing or talking about pretty much what we did as far as the audit in accordance with the Yellow Book or the government auditing standards. And we noted that we did not find any deficiencies in your internal control as we were looking at your internal controls when we were taking that in consideration and doing our auditing procedures. And that's pretty much leads me to some of these letters that we have here. We have two letters. One of the letters is one that basically kind of addresses all that we did not find any deficiencies in your internal controls. And then the second letter is our management letter. And this one talks about the different aspects of the audit. So it kind of says what we did, and then some of the items, like some of the estimates we addressed that we thought were most sensitive. In the case, would be pensions because they're subject to actuary studies. And then we also discussed like whether we have any difficulties in performing the audit, and we did not. The staff was very good at helping to assist us gather all the information, and we did request a lot of information, unfortunately for them. And we did not have any disagreements with management, and we also had them make representations to us as far as items within the financials that they gave us and estimates that they made for us. And we did not have any other findings or issues that we noted. And I know that you guys generally like to know your unassigned available fund balance at June 30, 2024. So that is one number that I will review with you. And so that is after your policy of the 3.5 million that you'd like to set aside. It is $4,681,920 is your unassigned fund balance at June 30, 2024. I'd be happy to address any kind of questions that you guys have, if y'all want to go into some specific details, or if you have any.
Council, any questions for Jonathan?
We get a double write-off for this binder?
It's pretty fancy.
It is fancy.
We did reduce the number from 10 to 5, just FYI. Mine is stapled together.
There you go.
You should ask for a 6.
No.
Great job, Jonathan. I think it says a lot about you and Liliana and our finance department. Y'all doing a wonderful job. I saw Jonathan Thursday night. He and some kids came to my house trick-or-treating, and he was already excited about coming to the council meeting. So.
Hey, he didn't even give me candy.
Yeah.
He said that's too old.
I have some left. Please come back.
That's good.
Any questions for Jonathan or Liliana? We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Jonathan.
right, hey, thank you guys.
Great job.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all giving us the opportunity to perform
Yes, sir.
your audit, and we appreciate the staff going out of their way to get us everything that we needed. So,
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you,
nice
sir.
to see you.
Thank you, sir. All right, council, public comment. Lauren, do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
Yes, sir. We have Ed Goodrich.
Okay. And please, folks, limit your comments to 3 minutes, and we ask that you speak directly into the microphone so you can be heard by those at home in our recording. Come on up, Mr. Goodrich.
My name is Eddie Goodrich, and I am a property owner in the town of City Hall. I took the liberty of making copies, getting the architect to do a rendering showing the height corridor of the building that we have proposed, as well as the lot coverage. As you'll notice in red, that's all wooded area. That's all over the state of North Carolina. And then we've got a street scene, street view, which shows that the building basically will be footprint about the size, a little bit smaller than a food store, grocery store, and no taller than a single-family home. Now, at the public hearing we had in August, it's apparent by reading the minutes, watching the video, that the council, or at least some members, thought this was a project proposed for a village commercial district in Kitty Hawk Village rather than beach commercial. We would never propose anything like this in Kitty Hawk Village. The self-storage facility use was added to beach commercial 2 zone in December 22nd of last year by unanimous vote of this council, with a statement of it being consistent with the town's land use plan. We would like to ask the council to voluntarily agree to a redo of the hearing, so you are at least focused on the right zoning district, given the comments about wanting anything that big in Kitty Hawk Village or on Kitty Hawk Road. Since there's an issue, after that issue is resolved, we can address the text amendment, which we saw to clarify the meaning of the language within the ordinance, which says no use of an owner or tenant on the site shall exceed the maximum area of 40,000 square feet of building area as shown on the commercial site plan. I'm not asking you guys to do anything tonight, I'm just speaking in public comment. As reflected by the minutes and approved in September, we should have another hearing to make sure that everybody understands this. It has no impact on Kitty Hawk Village whatsoever. It's on Beach Commercial. We have a difference in opinion with the staff and as well as with the town attorney on what building area really means. And there's no definition for it in your ordinance. The only closest thing I could find was building site, which means an area. So we can address that later. It's far too complicated to talk about tonight. Because it gets into all kinds of things.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Goodrich.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And council, we can discuss at the, yes, sir, we can discuss at the end if you'd like. Right now, we're in public comment. Anyone else signed up? Well, is anyone here tonight would like to speak during public comment about any topic? Anyone? Okay, let the record show, Lauren, no one else chose to speak. Consent agenda. Council, I need a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, please.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion made by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Dylan. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Item 8, we had no items removed from the consent agenda. Item 9, we need to schedule a public hearing due to procedural issues and error on my part at the last meeting. We're going to re-advertise and reschedule a public hearing. Can I have a motion, please? This is item 9.
Mr. Mayor, I move to set a public hearing at the Town Council meeting on December the 2nd, 2024, to consider the proposed text amendment to Section 42-360.
Thank you, Jeff. Can you get a second, please?
Second.
Second by David. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, item 10, we need to discuss the zoning text amendment for some definitions, accessory structures. Rob, if you'd come up, please, sir. Item 10A.
Mayor, we need to go into public
hearing.
Can you get a
hearing.
motion to go into public hearing, please?
So moved.
Motion made by David, second.
Second.
Second by Charlotte. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are in public hearing. Now, go ahead, Rob.
All right, this is a proposal for amendment for two sections. One is section 42-1, definitions, defining accessory structures. The proposal states accessory structure means a non-habitable building on the same lot but detached from the principal building for which the use is incidental and subordinate to the principal use. In residential districts, accessory buildings shall be detached garages, workshops, storage sheds, hobby-type greenhouses, or similar minor buildings, roof structures, and shipping containers shall not be used as accessory structures. The second part of that is to section 42-504, yards generally. The proposal is that for residential uses, accessory structures as defined in section 42-1, not exceeding 144 square feet, sorry, that says square inches in the amendment, or the staff report should be square feet. An area not exceeding 15 feet in height, must meet front building setbacks, but can encroach as close as 5 feet to the side and rear property lines. On corner lots or double frontage lots, accessory structures must meet the principal structure setback on the street side / rear yard. And accessory structures exceeding 144 square feet in area and not exceeding 15 feet in height must meet the principal structure setback requirements. This kind of came to be, I emailed council back in September of '23 with a handful of thoughts that I'd had just to kind of get general consensus on moving forward. And this one came to me when I was placing my shed in KDH, and the requirement to have a shed 25 feet off the rear property line would basically put the shed right coming out of my back door into the shed. And you know, just having a son, 10 years old, I'm out in the yard a lot playing soccer, playing football with him, and you know, it seems like it really impacts the amount of usable yard you have by forcing it that far out. So that was kind of the genesis of it. Again, I didn't want it to open up to anything like accessory dwelling units or any large structures. That's why I put the 144 square foot cap on it. Did hear one concern about noise generation being that close to the property lines. You'll see on the second page of the staff report, if council would like, we could add in language stating that accessory structures located within the setback exemption area created by this subsection are limited to non-noise generating uses, including but not limited to storage sheds, greenhouses. In addition, the noise ordinance would still apply regardless of it's 25 feet away or 5 feet or 10 feet. I did have at your seats for you tonight here, just a little background on what some of the other localities in the area do. From what I was able to find, it looks like unincorporated Dare County, Kill Devil Hills, and Nags Head allow accessory structures, accessory buildings to be as close as 5 feet to the side and rear property lines as being proposed. Duck and Southern Shores don't have that exception. They have their standard setbacks applied to that. And I was not able to find Manio's regulations on it as of yet. Another concern that had come up through discussion with the council member was from the fire department side. I had emailed this to Deputy Chief Jasper Rogers back in September. He didn't indicate any concerns with separation from property lines, and it's more concerned with meeting, having a separation between structures of, I think he indicated a preference of 10 feet, which if we have 5 feet from each property line, then those structures are going to be 10 feet separated. And he did mention like the fire rating for the structure being built, but that's something that would come, we would see during the permit review. That's really what I've got prepared. If there's any other questions for me, I know we do have the public comment here as well.
And council, just to be sure we don't have an applicant, this is something Rob has brought before council like he did before. So if you've got any questions for Rob, now's the time while we're in public hearing.
I have a comment.
Sure.
For the record and for the misunderstanding of accessory dwelling units, Airbnbs, the confusion between the two and all sorts in between. I have from the Department of Insurance what defines accessory structures versus accessory dwelling units. So to make that clear, what you're asking for is not livable, it's not sleeping in, it's not renting, it's not, because I have the definitions right here.
Right, and the
by the Department of Insurance.
Zoning includes a non-habitable building.
Correct. So I just want to be clear to everybody what's being asked for.
And if it becomes habitable, then we've got a violation.
Correct. It's for your lawnmower.
Yep.
And if you choose to include the language that I provided in the staff report about non-noise generating as well, if we get complaints that somebody has done a 144 square foot shed and they've run power to it and started using it as a small wood shop or what have you, then in addition to enforcing the noise ordinance, we could send zoning violations to and have them make sure they convert it back to just the storage that was approved.
Okay, Rob. That is, I do have concerns on the 5 foot. Say if there's a fence, which most people, if they're somebody puts a building 5 feet from me, I'm probably going to put a fence. So really, as Jasper said, you're not going to have 10 foot. You're going to most likely have 5 going between the fence of your neighbor and the next one. Now, I called and asked you this so we could ask in public. It could be heard in public. houses on my street, it's hard to tell what's the front and back. So, I mean, we had, I'd say 20% run, the houses are running north-south, facing, you know, the road. The front door's facing the road. But we also have, I'm sorry, 80% are running that way, 20% or maybe even less are running east-west, like this. And so, just riding down the road, I saw a house where possibly a shed could be 5 foot right dead in front of their front porch. Is that correct?
So our ordinance defines a front yard as a yard extending between the side lot lines across the front front of a lot adjoining to the public street. So regardless of which way the house is facing, the 25-foot front yard is measured from the property line at the street. And then
So what I'm asking is say the house that I'm referring to is east-west and the other one is facing the road, now they can actually put theirs 5 foot from the property line, even though I consider the front of my house, the front door and my porch and all that, not the narrow side. This dwelling could actually just be 5 feet off of their property line, really in my front yard, if I chose to position my house that direction.
It would always be 25 feet off the front property line running from the road. There would not be any exemption, exclusion for anything to be closer to the road. Doesn't matter how the house is oriented.
Right.
The front yard setback is measured from the road side. And then the sides run perpendicular to that, and the rear is parallel to the front. And the house can be configured and turned any which way. Those are still the front, rear, and side setbacks. So there's never going to be an instance where a shed could be 5 feet off the public right of way.
No, but it could be 5 feet if I have my house running the different direction from theirs. Once again, if their house sits like that and mine sits like this, I could actually be looking at their shed right in front, you see. Just, you do see, just because of the position of the house, by us allowing this to be 5 feet, we could cause somebody to have what they consider their front yard, a shed in their front yard. Even though technically,
right. So
you go by the road.
So if we're looking at it that way, the way the house is oriented, then the current regulations would allow that shed to be 10 feet off that side property line. So it's a difference of 5 feet. And that's what.
But I was just, that was my concern, that if every house faced the same direction, then it'd be different. I'm just wondering how this might affect people that have their house positioned differently than traditional facing towards the road, because sometimes the lots don't allow it, so they have to run a long way. So I was just wondering how that would affect.
So in that situation right now, if somebody wanted to build a shed with what's currently allowed, they'd be 25 feet off the rear lot line and 10 feet off the side. So if the next door neighbor has their house facing their side yard, then they're looking at a difference of 5 feet.
Right. Okay.
Well, actually, it could be more than that, depending on square footage of the house.
Could, yes.
So it could be as far as 17 and a half feet off the side.
Correct.
If it's over 3,000 square feet. So let's be clear that everybody understands that. It's not just cut and dry like that. There's a lot of other variables.
Right. And what David's referring to is our side yard setbacks. The minimum is 10 feet, and then as the dwelling size increases, the side yard setback increases to over 3,000 square feet. It becomes
17 and a half, I believe.
3,500 goes up to 15 feet. So.
And 4,017 and a half.
Yeah.
So. How many houses would you say in Kitty Hawk would fit Jeff's description just off the cuff?
I have no idea.
All right.
Well, I saw in here where, We do have the area we've dealt with, like on West Tateway, where, you know, some of the people's houses are facing Tateway, but their address is actually Sunrise. And so, where's the front? And you addressed that,
Yeah, and,
the double lot.
yeah, so if we had like corner lots like that, then you get the principal on the street side, the principal structure setback would still apply, so they wouldn't be able to put that shed 5 feet from that property line, and still have to maintain that 10-foot.
There is places, once again, we'll go back up onto West Tateway, where the condominiums, there's like 4 houses down at the end. Their mailing address and their mailbox, and I'm just wondering, is the front of their house, that street frontage down on Sunrise, or is it the private road?
I would have to see the surveys, how they,
And see that, I'm just wondering how close we, you know, it's just the front and the back and the side, trying to make sure that you don't put it right in somebody's front yard 5 feet from their property. That's all I'm trying to do.
Are the instances that Councilman Pruitt's talking about right now, if it's viewed that way, they'd be able to put that shed 10 feet with our current setbacks?
yeah, if the house is less, if the dwelling is less than 3,000 square feet, yeah, it would be 10 feet would be the current side setback.
Gotcha.
So essentially what is being requested is an additional 5 feet.
Yeah, and you can see in the staff, attached to the back of the staff report, I had attached a couple of copies of survey, just kind of indicating, you know, where the current 25-foot, 10-foot is, and then what would, if it goes to 5 and 5, what that would look like, and just opening up the yard more.
Well, and clearly also for the record too, there's septic systems that could be in the way.
Yeah.
I mean, not everything's just a given that it's going to happen.
Yep.
Right? So, you might have to move a drain field to do that. I mean, in fact, you do have to have health department approval on that, if I remember correctly, to even do the shed to begin with, correct?
Yeah, before issuing any kind of permit for sheds or anything else, we require a copy of the permit from Dare County Environmental Health.
Say if we made the shed so that you couldn't have it noise generating, as you said, but yet I say, well, okay, I'll go back to the 10 setback. Can I run my drill press?
Yeah, the way it's written in there, you'd be able to. And
I mean, is this, if you want to get 5 feet, you can't do this? If you go back to 10 feet, we'll go back to the regular rules?
Yes, and right now you could do that at 25 feet off the rear, 10 feet off the side, but it might be a noise violation. And that's what it would be if you're not compliant with these standards set out to get this exception. You know, if you're 150 square foot, you have to be 25 feet off the back and 10 feet off the sides. And if you wanted to have a little wood shop, then you got to be 25 feet off the back and 10 feet off the sides. And I guess you're at your own risk on whether you're violating the noise ordinance or not. But we don't have anything right now that would stop somebody from building a shed 10 feet off there, or building a structure 10 feet off their property line and putting a wood shop, a metal shop, anything like that in it.
But increasing 2 to 5 foot would regulate that a little bit.
If they took if this got approved, right, and they took advantage of the less restrictive setback, they could not. That's what you're asking,
That is
right, Jeff?
exactly what.
They could not operate the wood shed out of there without subjecting themselves to a violation. But they could have a non-habitable, non-lighted, or without electricity running to it. They could have that type of shed within 5 feet or less, or more.
I mean, like a Tupperware shed that you go buy from one of the Lowe's or wherever, to store your lawnmower in. That's totally different from a workshop. So if we can define just a storage shed used to store garden equipment, or from an actual working shed, even though 5 foot, you know, it's not really talking.
This specifically says storage shed or greenhouse.
But we don't, we have 2 parts here, right? You were saying one, we could just have it a shed, and part 2 is we can make it so that it can't have the noise and everything, or is it all just?
That's
I mean,
already.
if council wanted to adopt it with that extra line added in,
Yeah, see, we would have-
incorporate that into the motion.
Okay.
And then that would prohibit any kind of noise generating uses being 5 feet or less, or 5 feet from the property line.
Okay.
And that doesn't take away from the existing noise ordinance, but it allows the zoning violation, correct? So it's two avenues of recourse.
Either way.
Yes, that's
Yep.
what I was saying. I was saying, instead of having to go for the noise ordinance and calling you in there with the meter and all that, we can just
It's-
basically have Rob ride up and hear a wah coming
Yep.
from the shed and say, that's about, or
Yep.
Jasper, or whoever.
No measurement, it's a violation.
Yeah, we
That's
could
right.
leave the police all out of this, and it's all administrative right here. You violated the setback.
Correct.
Okay, thank
And
you.
I agree with Rob. I think that the language he's proposed as an addition, if that's the way you guys choose to go, then that would allow that. That would allow for that type of enforcement.
Okay. I have no more questions.
Anything else,
Rob.
Jeff?
No.
Good job. Charlotte? Dylan?
Just following up that, I hate to beat a dead horse. If you had a noise generating shed, if you used the old setbacks, you would still be in the right?
Right, we don't have anything that would prevent somebody from doing that currently at 25 feet from the rear and 10 feet on the side.
So that
It's just the
condition
noise
only
ordinance.
applies to going more restrictive
Right.
than the?
Right, that would only apply if you're trying to put your shed 5 feet from the property
I
line.
got you. That's all.
David?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's
Okay.
pretty cut and dry.
All right.
And don't forget public.
Get ready to do it right now. Trust me. I got it written down 15 times in my notes. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to speak during this public hearing about the setbacks? Anybody at all? All right, Lauren, let the record show no one else chose to speak. If we have no more questions for Rob, I need a motion to go back into regular session, please.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Motion made by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Charlotte. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Okay, counsel, what would you like to do with this issue? A lot of hard work on Rob's part.
I mean, we had a discussion at this point?
Now we
No,
go,
sir, we're in
now
regular
we,
session.
now we can discuss, but
Okay,
I think we gotta leave Rob
I don't
out.
understand I mean, I don't have a problem with it. You get to choose which one you want to do.
That's correct.
So if you want to not have any noise and you want a little bit more yard space, then you do the 5 foot.
That's right.
That's
If
correct.
you don't, then you do the 10, keep it the way it is.
Correct.
I think it's cut and dry. I mean, I don't,
My,
and the state it defines clearly, sent out to other municipalities where I got this from, the misinterpretation of structure versus dwelling versus this versus that.
but it was the noise and actually using it as a workshop more than a shed that was my main concern.
In other words, like commercial use is what you,
Or just any use, just somebody gets up every day and just gets off work and comes
making
home
picnic tables.
and just makes, he's into making horseshoes or whatever, and they're banging, or maybe he's into playing drums in there, music coming from it. Maybe turns it into a musical room for his kid to play, learn how to play drums.
I don't
you know.
disagree with
So
that.
it was just but still, what's 5 feet? But.
I don't disagree with that either.
okay.
But I mean, that would fall into the noise violation.
Right.
Which ours is currently what, 7 to 10? Anybody know? I bet
That's
it's-
about right, yeah.
But also remember, if that additional language is added, it's
Right.
not about the decibels.
That's
It's
correct.
just noise in general.
That's right. If
outside
you
of
can hear it.
Taking a lawnmower out, putting a lawnmower in, for example, right?
In other words, I can't blow my carport out at 2 o'clock in the morning with a blower. I mean, it's
That'd be hard to enforce, but yeah.
it's 5 feet. It's just, you got a choice, right? There's a choice is yours. You want 5 or 10?
All right, counsel,
I think it cleans it up.
we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, David, go ahead.
I move to approve the proposed text amendment to section 42-504 Town Council's findings proposal to be consistent with the town's adopted land use plan.
Thank you, David. Do I have a
Commissioner
second?
Hines, is that to include, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Mayor, is that to include the additional language concerning noise generating uses?
Correct. That is to include that language so that it cannot occur.
Got
Thank you,
it.
David. A second? Did you?
Second.
Second by Charlotte. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Rob.
Good job, Ron. Item 11, we have no old business. Item 12, 12A. Again, this is something that Rob has brought before us for just some discussion, maybe advice, maybe what we want. We do not have to act unless we want to. Maybe give him some guidance on if we want to proceed with anything.
As far as,
He'll tell you right here.
Yeah, so I won't go all the way through the staff report, and I apologize for how thick the packets were because of the staff report, but after the last council meeting with the subdivision there at the corner of Corunda and Kitty Hawk Road, coupled with the proposals that we've heard for the other larger parcels back there, the general consensus that we tend to hear is it's too many houses, too dense, even though it's meeting the current regulations. So I went through, I believe, every developed residential lot in the village, in VR1, VR2, VR3. Put down the minimum, or what the lot sizes of each of those lots are. From what I could measure on the GIS, broke down to how much uplands is on each one, continuous uplands on each one, just to have a picture of kind of what's existing back there currently, the average lot sizes, average amount of uplands, and that accounted for all the attachments, doing different maps of the different areas and the spreadsheets. And then in the staff report, you also have what we currently allow in the VR1, 2, and 3. Currently in the VR1, permitted uses are single-family dwellings, minimum lot size 15,000 square feet of continuous, contiguous, and connected uplands, and maximum density is 2 dwellings per acre. VR2, we currently allow single-family residences and duplexes. Minimum lot size for single-family residence, 15,000 square feet, duplex is 25,000, and a maximum density of 4 dwellings per acre. And then VR3, we allow single-family residences, duplexes, and multifamily dwellings. Minimum lot sizes for single-family residence and duplex are the same, 15,000 square feet and 25,000 square feet. Multifamily dwellings is 15,000 square feet for the first unit and 9,520 square feet for each additional unit, which comes up to the maximum allowed density of 4 dwellings per acre. You can see in the staff report from what I broke down going through all those residential lots, currently, for the most part, the minimum lot sizes and the density and the non-wetland square footage of the lots, all kind of, the lot sizes exceed what we, the minimums that we allow, and the density doesn't quite come close to bumping into that maximum that we allow for the most part. So yeah, I really just wanted to present that to council, just to, I guess, get a discussion started, to see if we are comfortable with the current regulations, if we want to make any changes in the future. I did hand out an email that Ms. Donna Grief sent in with some comments. She couldn't make it here tonight, but wanted some comments to be known by council. And then just the other part of it, when council is thinking about which direction to go on it, there are some other considerations, other than just the density and minimum lot sizes. Reducing the ability for someone to develop the property could have adverse impact on their property rights. It could limit the potential for additional housing stock, requiring a larger minimum lot size, restricts the supply of land that's available for construction, which could reduce the housing stock, increase real estate costs. So I'm not trying to tell anybody which way to do it, just wanted to make sure council has the information to think about when providing that kind of guidance.
I'd like to make,
And David, to answer your question, I talked to Rob about the very same thing this morning. Why is this here? I think he just wanted us to have different options. We may just decide to leave it alone. Different options for us. Donna Creef in her email made a very good point that I think all of us had already thought about. We may have people that own property in the village who have plans for it down in the future, and we don't want to do anything that's gonna,
that's exactly what I was getting ready to
children or
say.
grandchildren in the future, we don't want to do anything that's gonna mess
I'm
up.
not concerned with why it's here tonight. I think it's a lengthy discussion. I do not and will not want to participate through, rushing through that for future generations of folks that want to subdivide property for their children or grandchildren and make that mistake. In fact, I think it's something that needs to be carefully considered and carefully discussed so that does not have an unintended consequence on, I hate to use you, but your children down the road, or somebody else's children down the road, or grandchildren. I think it's a great start, what you've done, but I think there's a whole lot of the conversation and discussion that needs to be had on this. In fact, I think it's too lengthy with it being an election tomorrow to even get into tonight.
Maybe a subcommittee sometime in the future or a group.
I agree with David. This is, I mean, we've been asked by the residents of Kitty Hawk to look into this. I mean, we have seen the people show up meeting after meeting concerned about this issue. I don't think anybody here wants to stop somebody from, their kid getting a piece of land. We're fortunate we have some very talented people in Dare County and in Kitty Hawk that could help us with this. Donna, George Wood, maybe Ralph Calfee. We have some people here that have a lot more experience than I. I would like to look into it. Now, we might have to back up and punt. But it would be nice to listen to some of the people that have been doing this for a living for years and years. Dylan, I would like to have Dylan as an engineer, a part of this also. And maybe just have a sit down and see if it's something we've been asked to look into it. And we have seen developments that we didn't quite like. But the last thing we want to do is to hurt people's property rights. I don't think anybody here wants that. But we also don't want property rights to be deteriorated by bad decisions also by a developer.
Well, we talk about unintended consequences, even going far as back as to the wetlands we change ordinances to. That in of itself could have already affected splitting off generational land.
Sure.
So we've already kicked the soccer ball a little bit in the wrong direction by trying to do something good there. I definitely don't want to get this wrong.
So I think, well, I know I'm hearing, let's just table this, think about it,
agree
and
with
we'll
that.
discuss maybe some kind of other committee in the future. Dylan, if you would, we would love to have you as a part of that, as a council
Absolutely.
representative.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Yes.
I think we all agree.
Just adding to that too, I think it'd be great to get some sort of method of public input.
Yes.
So we,
Yes.
Well, I
I'm
think-
sure that's incorporated in what we're talking about.
Yep.
Well, I think I agree. I think you got to have a little bit of a roadmap from somebody. Well, not just one person, but
Yeah.
you got to analyze all the land. You got to analyze what's wet, what's not. I mean, there's a lot of work that's going to go into this.
Well, and once again, I really, we're only talking about VR1. That's it. Not another piece of land in Kitty Hawk. Not VR2, VC, B, no BRs, nothing. We're talking about VR1 only. Just so everybody don't worry and be BR2. We're not messing with you. It's VR1 only.
All right, Rob, very good start. Good
Thank you
job
for
gathering
that,
this
the
information
research
for
you
us.
put in.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rob, very much. Okay, fire engine, Chief Talley, you're up, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here before you to request the approval to order a 2027 E1 fire truck. As previously discussed, we are now utilizing a 25-year benchmark toward replacing fire trucks. The turnaround time currently sits at, for receiving a fire truck, approximately 3 years. The fire truck being replaced is going to be a 2001 model. If an order is placed this month, we will receive the new fire truck in late 2027, if not later, early 2028, which would put the current fire truck being replaced at 26 years. The cost for the new fire truck is $961,320. If we continue with the current track of funding allocations to capital outlay, this expenditure will be covered, which will occur at the time of delivery and acceptance of the vehicle, which again will be in 2027 or early 2028. And I'm happy to take any questions.
And again, this is pretty much like the newest one we have, correct?
It's the same specification as the 2022 fire truck that we got 2 years ago.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to move forward with purchasing the new fire truck.
Thank you, Jeff.
Second.
Second by Charlotte. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Go order your truck, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You gonna do that tomorrow morning? Tonight. That was good.
Are we?
All right. Time manager, Melody?
Aren't we missing the pier thing?
Well, first I think I would like to congratulate Liliana and Lauren Cavendish, our finance department, for handling the audit and doing such a wonderful job and getting a great report for the town. And also, tomorrow, as we know, is Election Day. The Kitty Hawk Town Hall will be open for voting tomorrow. The polls will open between 6:30 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. So we expect a busy day tomorrow. Town offices will be closed on Monday, November the 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. A special shout out to Public Works, which has been working hard to change the exterior lights of all the town buildings to green. This is in support of Operation Green Light for veterans that Dare County is doing. Also, due to Veterans Day observance, we will have a revised trash schedule. Kitty Hawk trash will be collected on Tuesday, November 12th, instead of Monday. Regular trash collection will resume on Thursday. Renovations and construction of the police department are progressing very well. All of the interior framing in both the existing and the new addition are complete. Roof shingle work is also complete. They expect to have window materials arriving on site by the end of the week so that they can manufacture and replace the windows. The mechanical contractors are working as we speak, and they're also expecting plumbing and electrical work to continue for the month. We continue to be on budget and on time. And also, I'm pleased to announce that Christian Antonis, our building inspector trainee, has successfully passed his state level 1 plumbing exam. So he can now go out and inspect plumbing. Christian has been working really hard, and David Lewis, who is our chief building inspector, is also taking him under his wing and is an excellent teacher. So we fully expect that Christian will be ready to go when David retires next year. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody. Good report. Casey?
Mayor, I have nothing. Thank you, Council. Mayor.
Okay. Council, if you don't mind, I'd start. We, this past Wednesday night, we had a tragedy take place in our town where a pedestrian lost his life and 2 dogs. I think we'd just like to send our thoughts and prayers to the family of the gentleman who lost his life, the drivers of the vehicles involved, and their families, all the first responders who were there, everybody who responded. I can tell you that is, sometimes that's not an easy thing to handle. But I'd just like to thank all, Chief, your crew, Chief Talley, your crew, whoever was involved. Thank you so much. And again, we'd just like to send our thoughts and prayers. Tomorrow is Election Day. Please turn out and vote no matter who you vote for. And again, Liliana, great job with the audit report. No findings, no problems, no issues. She is always on the ball. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the staff. David?
I don't have a whole lot this evening. I would like for the town attorney, Casey, if you could maybe do a little bit of research and provide at least me with more of a better legal opinion of the public comment tonight. I'd appreciate it.
For Mr. Goodrich?
Yes.
Understood.
Yes.
I'd like to make sure we did not make misinterpretation. I think it was the lone yay in that situation, but nonetheless, I want to make sure that we're not misinterpreting, because my understanding is this already was approved for many warehouses already. I just want to make sure there was no mistakes made.
Okay, no problem. I got it. And I think I understand at this point Mr. Goodrich's concerns. We've had some back and forth, like I said, with Hood, so I can certainly provide you an update on that. And I'll figure out the best way to inform everyone, so we're not bothering any kind of rules. But
Right, I don't want to not involved in if there's lawyering going on. I just want clarification from me.
Very good, David. I think everybody here agrees with you. Anything else, David?
That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to add.
Good job. Jeff?
Yes, I'd like to thank Liliana and Lauren for the good report. You know how I like to watch the money. And I also feel like that we need to make sure that legally we understand Mr. Goodrich's concerns, and
Yes.
I'd like for them to be addressed. I'd also like to thank Ron and Christy Brantley for showing up. I'm interested in a preservation. I know in other areas I see buildings being restored in their community, and I just had the honor to meet the gentleman that owns the old school at the Judy Rand, and wouldn't it be nice for that to be a building left in Kitty Hawk for the future? So I'm not sure what the next steps that you would like to take, but I'm interested, and I'm not sure about the rest of the council, but we have several places in Kitty Hawk that, you know, I think we should say, hey, you can go to this place and this place, and, you know, like I said, we do have the old church, and that's now has the monument in front of it, the parsonage, I guess it was called on North Shore, and the school and several other old houses that should be recognized in Kitty Hawk. And, you know, if the owners, once again, wish for it to be, then I certainly support it. Thank you for bringing it forward. I have nothing else.
Thank you, Jeff. Charlotte?
I'd like to express my appreciation to our veterans, and I'd like to thank Liliana for her hard work, and that was a great report. I had the opportunity to meet with a group of Cub Scouts this past week, and it was wonderful to meet our future leaders. They were excited. They were 10 years old, and they were excited and very interested in how the government ran. So it was a great experience. I'd like to thank my recreation committee for the hard work that they have put in, and if you haven't seen the video, there's a video about the proposed trail around the town, and just things are good. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Anything else, council? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting, please.
So moved.
Motion made by Jeff, second.
Second.
Second by Dylan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.
9 minutes.